So I recently had interest in the Halloween franchise. I mean, who isn't with the new film coming out with that great trailer of Jamie Lee Curtis being such a badass? I'm anticipating that she'll be an Oscar nom because of her history with blockbusters, True Lies. You probably know most mainstream films, True Lies, her horror films, being the daughter of Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis, among other things. I don't really have much to say about Halloween 1. I had a pretty good praising review of it before. I don't know what I think of it now. I haven't watched it in a while. My friend said it didn't age too well. I wonder if it's because what if it didn't have all those psycho references with Janet Leigh and the knife and all that kind of stuff. I remember it being very scary because of the Halloween theme when Michael Myers approaches. The first time you watch Halloween is great, especially when you hear that theme. John Carpenter's only made like one bad film. Constantly joke about Halloween 2 being like Escape from LA with some of his bad jokes. Some would say Halloween has a cult following. I would say it has a cult of thorn following. Wink, wink. So much hot Hitchcock stuff in it. Um, I don't know if Halloween is that scary. Maybe because I'm not watching it in the theater. Maybe because the volume's not all the way up. Maybe the sound quality isn't that good. One scene that does scare me that comes to mind in general is the girl scene in Mulholland Drive. I always have to skip that part when I watch it. David Lynch. My friend apparently watched it when it came out, which is pretty epic. I don't know if I ever get an opportunity to watch David Lynch film when it comes out again. Really cool stuff. I don't know if Lynch will make another film. So on to Halloween 2. Michael Myers somehow survives Halloween 1. Camera angles are very good. It does well to emulate Halloween 1. However, the script needs some work. The ending's really weird. There's some aspects I like about it, like the blood coming out of his eyes. The fact that they play Sandman, Mr. Sandman again, showing that it's supposedly a happy ending, which is set up in the beginning of the film. Let me look, see if anyone commented in the chat. Nope. Some of my notes on me from the stream I had. Yeah, all my notes just to load it. just go into 6 because my notes start from there because I started writing down stuff because somebody actually joined my stream during that. 6 is a big mess. They had 6 years to make the damn film, and it's freaking horrible. They don't have Jamie Lee Curtis. They don't have the actress from the last film, 4 and 5 in it, and she was probably even better than Jamie Lee Curtis. And she was a child. Then she grew up. Then she paid to be emancipated. And then they did bother put her in the film. They only want to pay her for like $1,000. So going to if I go add this to the stream. It was Donald Pleasant's last film because he passed away soon after, and they weren't able to re-edit the film with stuff. I don't know why they bring back Tommy Doyle, and it doesn't add any. They might as well have brought up back anybody because like it doesn't add anything that it was supposedly a character from the original Halloween film, being Laurie Strode's neighbor. There's no connection with her, him, and Jamie from 4 and 5. It's done by Miramax, and I gotta look this up. Harvey Weinstein. There's probably something he did that didn't want Jamie Lee Curtis and the girl who played Jamie to be in those films. I also question Walt Disney owning Miramax films. They probably knew something. Let me show you. I'll link you to the Wikipedia so you have something to watch. Wikipedia doesn't mention the 2 different edits. It only goes 88 minutes long, which is extremely short. It did make money. Some people talk about the cult stuff, but I just couldn't follow it. Like, it wasn't that... It doesn't have to do anything with the rest of the film. Where it's just Paul Rudd talking like a weirdo. And like... Sort of a mess. It is a mess. Donald Pleasant looked like he was very ill while he was make this film, actually. It's not very talkative. It doesn't revolve him. It revolves more around Paul Rudd, who luckily nobody watched the damn movie, otherwise he'd have no career. I sort of get that Tommy was supposed to be like a crazy guy, and then in the ending, supposedly he's supposed to be like the next Michael Myers. But like, they never end up with with a Halloween 7 with him as the returning character. It doesn't. That also doesn't match well with the Cult of Thorn stuff. Like they have like 2 different films going on as a result of this, and I wonder That's why it feels so weird. You have the cult stuff, which itself is weird. Like I like the Sam Hain stuff, but like the cult stuff, I don't know. They barely mention the Sam Hain stuff in Halloween 2. And there's a lot of that in Halloween 3, but like it doesn't feel like it fits in Halloween 6 at all. That's basically what I had to say. Let's see what else. COD, if you care about 5's money. Let's do with the whole premise of Halloween 2 with Laurie Strode and Michael Myers being relatives. There are editions of the script where I can't, there's no citation for that. Okay, forget that. Let me see. Those are references, but I can't really pay attention to the film to like care about them. So the film's best. There's like a scene where there's like blood, and then for some odd reason Paul Rudd's character licks it, and then like the plot of the Wikipedia doesn't really help at all. Like when you watch it, it doesn't make any sense when you're watching it. Like Paul Rudd's character is like he goes in the room for some odd reason where you don't know, and then he licks the blood, and then he finds a baby in the middle of a sink, and I'm like. Look up the 1995 Raspberry Awards. Showgirls, Biodome, Speed 2, Jury Duty. I don't know what that movie is. I mean, It's Pat was probably a worse, and Waterworld was probably a worse film than whatever. Kyle MacLachlan was a Showgirls. Pretty interesting. Judge Dredd. Everyone always talks about Sean Young. Interesting. Everyone talks about how if they want to remake a film, Waterworld would do well just because it's been in the Universal Studios for so long. Has an interesting premise, just wasn't executed that well. .6% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just really couldn't follow the film. That's basically why Halloween 6 sucks. Halloween 2. Get the stuff back. Just watched Halloween 2 twice. First time I didn't get what was going on, and I thought it was boring. I think that I'm like, okay, it does certain cinematic stuff right, with like the bleeding eyes and the fact that they show like a scantily clad nurse about to have sex and then she dies and then you feel horrible that you looked at her lustfully and stuff, and that was a pretty cool bait and switch. didn't know. Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot. I didn't know what Michael Myers was supposed to be in 6, and like he's not in a lot of the movie, despite Wikipedia make it seem like he is. Also, I watched the AVG review of this. I was a little curious as to why they were upset that Donald Pleasance. I don't think that it was a bad movie to revolve films around Donald Pleasance, but like he was sick in this film. Like it looked like he was sick, and like him staying alive at the end of the film, and I don't know. It was such a bad film too, and that being the memory of Donald Pleasance just really dampened his career or his memories. I felt like the Donald Pleasance films were better than the Paul Rudd ones, though. I do like Escape from New York, which is done by John Carpenter, who's done great films. I feel like John Carpenter is like the Halloween one. I feel like John Carpenter is like very good, but for some reason, film geeks and film critics and film art and people who don't even watch films don't know who he is. So like, he's never got that kind of praise. I think David Lynch is more famous than John Carpenter, probably. Although, I don't know, he did make Halloween, which is like one of the best indie films of all time. So Halloween 2, and again, they use all the interesting first-person perspectives, the stalking. It feels very voyeurish, like Hitchcock and Norman Bates-ish, etc. So the camera quality is very good, as I said, with like bleeding eyes, like the blood, and like certain setups and like suspense stuff, like having multiple opportunities to kill off a character, but then he doesn't do it, or then it's like a different character or something. So it keeps you guessing. So it's not predictable, which is nice. However, like some of these people, he kills off, it doesn't make any sense. Like the 31, the teenager, like the lady that looks like Margot Kidder, which I wonder if that's why they picked her. And why did she kill her? It doesn't make any sense. Did you know Laurie Strode at all? They randomly like run over a guy who looks like Michael Myers, and it's not him, and they killed the guy. Like that's. I don't think that was supposed to be some sort of suspenseful thing where he's like having a doppelganger or some magic thing. I think that was actually a guy. Like I'll get back to that later for the ending of the film. Like John Carpenter would, unless he was doing Escape from LA, would never have like that guy set on fire, then not explain it. It does not allow those magic trick stuff, and it gets even worse than 4. But 4 has its own merits. Like this is just very weird, and sort of disrupts, sort of makes the script very confusing as to. I mean, they use a lot of shortcuts and techniques that make you think that maybe he's a murderer, maybe he's it's supernatural, but they don't make it supernatural, which I had issues with in 4. So they go to the hospital, and then they follow this police officer. The police officer's like following stuff. And then it's suspenseful, like, because you don't know when he's gonna die. But like some like weird slapstick, like throughout this film, like with a whole bunch of stuff hitting him in the face. I do like he looks at the flashlights and it says like those are possible murder tools, and it's like dark, so it's like subliminal and other techniques, and we can anticipate or get afraid that he's gonna get killed, which works. I do feel like the mental patient needs to hit on the nurses, although it does set up that I'm not even like Friday the 13th like gore killing fan, but like that scene really worked. It was cinematic. She's played by a nice actress. Same with the lady in 4, the babysitter. Although I don't know, this one has a hospital. The other one's just a retread of the first one, but it's very different in itself. I do believe it's believable that there would be a soundproof glass in the hospital. I wonder how many people cheered for the guy getting killed in the mental hospital just because he was so annoying. Especially since we saw his butt in the film, and I didn't think that was very necessary. Again, the producer were pushing for like a hard, violent, gore rating or whatever. Could have made the knife in the photos shot a little bit more subtle. Also, Donald Pleasence does such a good job explaining the Sam Hain stuff. It's good that guy, European guy, to do that. Like when they go to smoke for smokes. I feel the U.S. would know more about pagan holidays. I wonder if Constantine was based off Donald Pleasence's role in Halloween. I also wonder if there's a mashup of this where it's like Weekend at Bernie's, where a whole bunch of people pretend a whole bunch of people are alive. It must really suck for the actors to have that shot in their eyes, that needle in their eyes, or whatever they make up. It's very uncomfortable. The guy falling in blood was a very dumb death, and that's one of the things I hated about this movie. I forget what happened to the guy who passes out in the car. I don't know if it's true that Halloween 2... I'll get into why I do think it's true that people were upset that Michael Myers didn't return to Halloween 3. Because, like, in Halloween 2, I don't know. A lot of good movies out in 1982, so maybe that's why Halloween 3 didn't do well. But I'll get to the ending later. Someone I knew bought Halloween 3, 12 years old, and was pissed that there was no Michael Myers. I don't know how old he was. I wonder if Halloween 3 was too similar to They Live. I didn't get why Laurie Strode didn't run to the back of the hospital when she couldn't get through the front. I like how the sheriff sort of looks like he's a Michael Myers mask when lit in a certain way. The nurse gets pretty violent death, hanging from like, I don't know. There's probably a lot of Friday the 13th films by the time this came out, so they covered all that. Random rooms. I was wondering if they're going to go in the bathtub, the end scene, because it looked like the bathtub scene with all the temperature meters or whatever. I thought those were temperature meters, but apparently those were gas meters. It's like the ending. Alright. So, it's cool that he has the blood coming out of his eyes, but then they heal Michael, and it's like the whole brother sister thing. And then they set up all the oxygen tanks, and they put the oxygen on, and then Laurie Strode tries to get out. They struggle out. So they set Michael Myers on fire, but Donald Pleasence is still in the room. So how does he survive? Not like that. Doesn't make any sense because Michael Myers did not necessarily survive either. Like, how do you know it's him that got burnt in the building? Well, you were there, but the second off, you can fake the dental records as shown, or maybe the dental records can prove that it's unproven that it's Michael Myers, since like earlier in the film that they just have a burnt body with no dental records, so he doesn't show up in the ambulance. And I don't know, like, how are you supposed to assume that he's dead? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I like the Mr. Sandman, Mr. Sandman thing was pretty well because it's set up from the early beginning of the film. Like, you're wondering what was for in this to show that the supposed happy ending in the end of the film, although you're not necessarily sure by the end. A little tired. I'll do Halloween 3 to 5 later. What are your thoughts? 3 to 6 later. What are your thoughts?